Welcome to I'm Not Joking, the podcast where a behavioral scientist examines what it's like to live a humorous life. Glimpse into the lives of the funniest people in entertainment, business, and science as your host, Dr. Peter McGraw, explores their habits, motivations, and secrets to success. Get ready to fire up your brain and your funny bone. Now, here's your host.
You're already laughing.
Yeah.
Welcome to I'm Not Joking, the podcast that looks at the lives of funny people. I'm Peter McGraw. Today's guest is comedian Janae Burris. In 2016, she was Denver Comedy Works New Faces champion, and she's also a regular performer at both locations. She's a member of Pussy Bros, a comedy trio which hosts shows every first Friday at the Comedy Room in Denver. She's starting her own podcast called Let's Talk About Death, Baby. We'll talk about that. In the summer of 2018, this I'm very excited about, you can see her in Colorado Shakespeare Festival's production of Cyrano De Bergerac. That's all very exciting. Welcome, Janae.
Thanks, Peter.
People should know we know each other.
I'm judging the whole time. I'm marking it off in my mind.
So, Janae, if you weren't doing comedy, what would you be doing?
Oh, God. Starting with the big questions. Okay, if I weren't doing comedy. I don't know, don't make me think about this. I don't even know why I'm doing comedy. I don't know. If I weren't doing comedy, maybe I'd be teaching. Okay. Maybe I'd get a little more focused on that.
All right. Have you taught before?
Mm-hmm.
What did you teach?
I usually teach theater to little kids.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow.
I've taught at a film school, so those are bigger kids.
Yes.
But still kids.
Okay,
really.
What film school was this?
This was in California. What's that school called? Oh, my God. What was that school called? It's been so many years. I don't know. It was in like Reseda or something. Just a small film school. I have to figure out what that school, the name of that school was. I can't believe I don't remember that, but.
I can tell how well they paid by how well you remember.
Okay. It was just so long ago, but I taught acting.
Okay.
And some improv and.
And you've taught to little kids, like you'd come into schools and do this?
I would go to, like, private schools are usually the only places that can afford to have a theater teacher
right.
employed. But I taught out near Ojai, Oakview Middle School. I taught there.
What production did you do?
Well, it's like they're a very special school. Special as in the kids have a lot of money.
Okay.
So they get to do whatever they want to do. We met in a large yurt, and we actually wrote a script around the kids.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because they were trying to,
Is this where they invented the participation medal?
Oh my God, no. But in order to call it an English class, to get credit for it as some sort of English or whatever class it was, we had to do a bit of writing together, and we got to know the kids and wrote a script around them and rehearsed it and, worked that out. It was fun. It doesn't feel like work, but that's what I like to do. When you teach theater to kids and performing to kids, you get a chance to help them come out of their shell. Mm-hmm. Even like the shyest kids in class who really, I know theater, not everybody wants to perform. They can do the costumes then, and they can do the set design, or they play music. All the kids play an instrument at that school. So, some of them we had to write that into the show because they were just too afraid to act.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the semester, they got to put on a production in front of their friends and parents, and they're so happy. The kids are so happy at the end of rehearsals, and I love that part.
Yeah, it sounds great. How's that different than teaching the bigger kids in Reseda?
The bigger kids are there because they want to be there. Mm-hmm. They've already paid to be at that school. Most of them were seeking film degrees, some of them in directing, some in editing. Mm-hmm. One semester I taught mockumentary.
A whole class on mockumentaries.
A whole class on mockumentaries, which, I don't know how to talk myself into getting that job as some sort of authority on mockumentaries, but I did. But so this is Spinal Tap was our course reading, really.
Right.
And some Christopher Guest movies.
Mm-hmm. Are there any mockumentaries have become a thing, right? It's like The Office is mockumentary style.
Yeah. So many. Reno 911 was a thing at that point, which
Okay.
I really liked. And I think in that class, I tried to focus on staying in character. It's like we're doing a documentary about your character.
Okay.
That's essentially what it is. And
that's fascinating. So basically, you're saying if you weren't doing comedy, you'd be teaching something affiliated with it.
I'd be trying to pursue teaching some arts and performance.
You know, this idea, you said something about, how did you put it just now? You just said, like, you want to do work that doesn't feel like work?
Yeah. I mean, that is... Are you doing work that feels like work? I know you're not. You can't be.
Sometimes I am, but I work very hard to focus on the things that don't feel like work.
I think that's everybody's goal, right? Is to make it not feel like work. And when I teach theater and performing, I can actually get there on time and stay there all day. For part of my last semester there, I was living in Fresno. So once a week, I'd make that 4-hour trek down because I wanted to be there.
So you were early for this, I
know. I feel like I probably forgot my wallet or something. Like, if I'm ever early, I've messed up somehow. So we'll see what happens.
Well, my anal retentive ways thanks you.
I'm glad you're here. That's why I sent a message. I was like, he's probably there. I don't know, doing something. You're fully dressed, like your clothes are pressed. You're shaven. I don't even know. It's a weekend, right?
It's a Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday.
After a holiday. I of course.
Yeah, welcome to my world. You know, you talking about teaching theater, acting, reminds me actually of a story. So in high school, I started to kind of come out of my shell a little bit and really embrace my extroversion. And I would never say I was a class clown. I was always in like the honors and AP classes, so the bar for class clown was very low.
Oh my God. I would love to see what that is. Okay.
So, I would make jokes and try to be a little bit funny and stuff like that. Yeah.
Really? But still your work was turned in on time.
Yeah, I wasn't a stellar student in high school. That came later. That came in college where I kicked it up a notch. But there was this psychology teacher who had this, he called it psychodrama. So he had this theater group that would do sketches about teenage problems. And you'd go around the local high school and junior highs and perform these things and then have these discussions with the audience.
It's like a live after school special.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Okay.
And I didn't really know about it. And one day he made an announcement in class. Can I see, student X, student Y, student Z, and Peter McGraw afterwards? And student X, Y, and Z were stoked they knew that this was the invite to psychodrama. And I was like, well, I guess I would do it. Maybe they'd let me do the audio visual, they maybe let me run the AV. I didn't have that part of me, that performance part of me at the time, and I ended up doing it, and I ended up being, a character in a variety of the different sketches. And I swear, I was good enough at it that when those laughs came, I was hooked. I get a little bit of a taste of I got a little bit of a taste of your world as a 17-year-old. Doing something, I would do physical comedy, I would fall, I was a klutz in one scene and stuff like that. And it got huge laughs and I just loved it. Yeah. I'm probably going to need a hip replacement.
We all will, don't worry.
In about 10 years because of it.
It's happening to all of us.
So why did you become a comedian? So you were teaching and were you just using to pay the bills? Or
well, I was teaching while also being a performer. Right?
Okay.
So, I went to school for theater to study theater.
Where was that?
Cal Arts in Valencia, California. And it's a great program. It's an avant-garde theater program. And
aren't all theater programs avant-garde?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Okay, tell me more.
No. Most schools don't do, productions where half the cast is nude.
I see.
That's avant-garde. How many kids are naked on this stage? Yeah. That's how you know it's avant-garde, We take a classical text, we take Brecht, and then we add something.
You take what?
Brecht or Shakespeare, just take a classical text.
I see.
And, the words are solid and inaccessible. And then the director puts a a spin on it.
I see. Okay.
And that's what most of the productions were. But how do you get jobs in that? I had friends who were moving to Berlin. That made sense.
Yeah, I see.
Where you can, live as an artist and continue to do avant-garde theater for audiences. Mm-hmm. But in LA, as a performer, that's not enough. Mm-hmm. Just to say I paid a lot for my private school degree.
Yeah, actually, I think that I was surprised by this. I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles. I ended up going to a Shakespeare summer in the park in like Topanga Canyon or something like that. Mm-hmm. I would forget. It wasn't Merchant of Venice. I can't remember which one. Who is Beatrice? What Shakespeare?
Beatrice is in Much Ado.
Much Ado About Nothing. Yes.
Right. That's a Jeopardy question. That's a good trivia question. Boom.
Yeah. So went with some friends to that. Drove up to Topanga Canyon, and I was kind of disappointed by the quality of the acting. Mm-hmm. Like I thought the acting would be stunning. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is a stone's throw from Los Angeles. Yeah. This is theater. Beatrice was great, whoever played her. Sure. But many of the other characters were sort of... Which is
theater. LA's not known for theater, and we were told about that in school. Mm-hmm. You might want, if you really want to pursue theater specifically, you might want to, East Coast, go to New York or go to London or something. Mm-hmm. But if you're already in LA, you're trying to pursue a television, film career. And if you only have a theater background, you're still going to have to do a lot of training, get a lot of experience. Yeah, so it's not enough.
But you're doing theater again. You're doing Cyrano.
I am. I'm super excited about it.
How'd that happen? And why?
It's been on my mind since I moved to Colorado. Colorado Shakespeare is a big deal.
It's good.
And theater actually here, I know some people who from school who really did pursue theater, and they've come through here a couple times for different productions at DCPA, and theater's really good here. Mm-hmm. But comedy takes up all of my time. So I never had 3 or 4 months to the side that I could do theater. So, the 3 years that I've been here, I've been looking into it. I finally checked out the DCPA audition schedule. Okay. Asked friends, looked it up online, scheduled it in my calendar. I'm like, I'm not missing these auditions this year. And also Nataki Garrett, who was in a graduate program at my school when I was there. I was an undergrad. She's now like an assistant artistic director at DCPA.
Okay.
A big deal. She came out here and I was like, oh my God, Nataki's going to be at DCPA. That means DCPA is planning on doing provocative work.
Right.
And I want to be there. And so I didn't get an audition. I showed up like I've read in books before, show up and beg for a spot and wait 2 hours until they give you a spot, which they did. And my audition sucked. I had not auditioned for theater in years. I felt embarrassed. I felt rushed. Uh-huh. I felt out of my body, and it was weird.
And you got it anyway?
And then no, I didn't. No, I didn't get anything, not a call back, not a phone call, nothing. But Susan Gregory, who's the casting director at Colorado Shakespeare, sent me an email and said, okay. I was there, I saw you, I hope you will audition for Colorado Shakespeare. And I was like, great. And then in a couple months, got emails from other people, you've been invited by Susan Gregory. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to this. And I went, and that audition was...
better.
Not necessarily better, but I tried to be funny outside of my piece. Because it's, people hire people they like. Hire people you like. I think in acting, if you don't like their audition, you can see something in the person that you can work with. Okay. So I tried to be that. Okay. I'm like, okay, here's my resume. And they know my school. People in theater communities know my school very well. They know people on my resume. So that helps, I put all the names I could put on there. And I got a call back. The call back I almost missed. It was out here in Boulder. I got lost. I was late. I hadn't learned my part. I was nervous. I was kind of sabotaging it, I think, in my mind. And I went, and they gave me time to get my stuff together. And then I tried to do the same thing, be charming on stage, I guess. And then I got some ensemble parts, which is all I'm really capable of doing.
What is an ensemble part?
Not a lead, but I got a named character who will probably be in 1 or 2 scenes. Okay. And I got, I'll play an actor over here. Cyrano's about, a company of actors. So I'll play an actor in this scene, and I'll play a bar wench in this scene or something. But I could tell... whatever. The play will look super diverse. There'll be this black woman in all these roles. They're like, they got a lot of black women in that show. They're all me. It's just me. But I could tell that they understood that I was a performer and they could see that in me. And when they called me to offer me a part, they said that they liked my stage presence, which I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's basically all I had to offer because I didn't act it well. I didn't even take the directions well because I haven't been directed. Okay. And last play I was in was like 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I really wanted that, though. I really want to be directed.
So this is amazing. So it sounds like you earned this part 6 years ago rather than in the audition.
Well, I mean, I tried to earn this part 15 years ago. I guess I shouldn't say when I graduated school. 6 years ago.
More than 6 years ago.
Yeah, but which I knew when I was younger and really in theater all the time, I was constantly feeling like I'll just be a better actor and I'll have a better audition and I'll look better and I'll work out. And it's like, no, what you have to do is get some years of experience and you have to build your resume and you have to build relationships. And that's how you get the part. And that's how I got the part because I'm, 6 years worth of dust on my acting brain and skills. Didn't matter because my resume still has the work on it.
I see. What does it mean to take direction?
Well, in stand-up comedy, I'm writing.
You're the director.
I'm the director. Yeah. It's a one-woman show.
Mm-hmm.
My feedback is in the response from the audience.
Okay.
And I don't get that until I show up. And to be directed means you put your acting skills and performance skills in the hands of someone with some knowledge, with an outside eye who can help. I need an outside eye right now as a performer. I'm thirsty for it.
Okay.
I'm starting to, constantly doubting myself, not trusting myself constantly anyway. And my comfort zone is theater. And I do trust directors, and I learned to trust directors when I started doing theater 20 years ago.
But I don't know if I've ever been directed. I mean, I guess I was in the psychodrama when I was 17, but barely, right?
You might have a hard time with it. I could see you pushing back a little bit.
I think I'd rather be a director than an actor.
I know you would. Yeah, that sounds right. It's hard to do. I wanted to be a director too.
Yes.
And so as an actor, this is why I pursued comedy is because I wanted some control myself. Uh-huh. I didn't want to wait for a part to be given to me. I wrote parts for myself, which is my stand-up. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going back the other way saying, now help me again. Yeah. Bring me back to that place. You have to give over the trust. You're a meat puppet. Some directors say that the actors are the meat puppets, was said to me before. And you have to be just a facilitator. You let them give you the direction. You let them have the vision. You trust their vision. They are working on this production a year before you ever get the part. Mm-hmm. And you have to trust that they're going to just help me produce the vision that they've always had for the play. And I think a good actor can bring that director's vision to life. And then once you are let free in front of an audience, then the actor kind of comes alive and my personality and comfort in that part will come out. And that's why they hire me for stage presence. Yes. They know I can get there. Mm-hmm. But I really do want to have an outsider say, you're doing a thing. I don't know what my things are anymore. I don't know what my quirks and my quirks on stage are anymore. I don't know. I know my speech and grammar has gotten really lazy because stand-up comedy allows you to do that. I know that even my breathing, my degree, all the money really, that 4 years was spent on learning how to breathe and speak.
Okay, so, oh my God, so many things to talk to you about this. So, I had a project for a while about directing and acting. I never even wrote it up, but I worked on it for a bit. And the way I sort of see it is, at least in film, maybe theater also, is like the director's the ceiling, right? It's sort of hard for an actor to be better than the director in the sense because the director directs the actor for that reason. And so, but it's very easy for an actor to fall short if they don't take the direction, right? And so there's this sort of interesting relationship between actor and director where the actor has to belief that the director can bring out the best in them, and then the director has to be able to let the actor play to his or her strengths. Let them be the kind of best actor that they can be. At
some point, I mean, that's why you have to hire actors that you trust in the first place. Because in the end, when it's time to open for the audience, the director can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So they have to hire a person that they believe will carry through that vision.
Yeah, that's the difference, right, between film and theater. Right? Because film, you can say, let's do another take. Let's do another one. We'll do another one.
And then you can edit it.
And then you can edit them.
You can edit it to look how you want it to look. In theater, you've got to have some skilled, trained actors. And it's a 3-month rehearsal process. Mm-hmm. So you hope you build some trust within that time.
So theater actors are more skilled than film actors.
Oh, man, don't say that. I wouldn't say that. I just did a short film. It was difficult.
But you would say that, though.
No. I wouldn't say that. It's two different.
It's just different.
It's two different art forms. It's like they're both martial arts. One is jujitsu. One is Muay Thai or whatever. I don't know.
Right. Okay, that's fair. I had a conversation with someone who worked in Hollywood films. He was on like the special effects side. I was like, "Is acting hard?" He's like, "Yes, it's incredibly difficult." I was like, "Well, tell me how it's difficult. Besides, it's difficult to be beautiful." And he said, well, you have like a camera like 6 inches away from your face. And then you've got this room full of people. Mm-hmm. And then you're supposed to cry. You know, like you're not...
I had to make the audience believe that...
Yeah, you have to
I'm all alone having this emotional experience.
And then you might have to do it 20 times. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I believe it.
I just did a short film. I didn't study film, and I hadn't been in anything other than student films, little student-directed things. And so I did a short film through Project DU Films, and they cast my buddy as my longtime partner. So me and one of my girlfriends, we had to play longtime partners, and she was going through cancer diagnosis. So I had to kiss my friend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the whole production, I'm like, I don't have a problem. I can kiss girls. This is my friend.
This is not just any
this
girl.
Dude right here is my friend. This is weird.
Yeah,
and, we just got to see a screener, and so weird.
Yeah,
and
how was
I'm
it?
like, and I got my hands on her face and I'm rubbing her hair. And so that, I remember being in that moment and trying to get there as an actor, trying to find reasons to cry and be intimate with her. And it was difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure it's hard. I was being a little cheeky.
I'm going to not let you be cheeky about acting because it is serious business for me.
I get it. So, you said earlier that you're always doing comedy, right? It takes up your life. It crowds out these other things. So what's a typical day like for you?
Oh man. First of all, my memory's shot. I stopped remembering days because everything changes.
Yeah, but just like a general run-of-the-mill kind of day. What are the beats? What are you doing?
I have day job.
Okay.
And
which is what?
I work at Modern Market. I'm the caterer. And I have that job because it's not stressful at all.
Okay.
Well, not usually. Andy was my boss for a while.
Andy, your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was my boss.
And my cousin.
Yeah. It's all connected.
People don't know this, but strangely, Janae
it's a small world.
Just quickly, I'll just do an interject. So, I cast Janae in a comedy game show that I was starting. Everybody I talked to was like, you need to get Janae. She's perfect for this. And she is. And if it ever finds its way to television, she's on.
I promise you I'll lose 20 pounds. I can't wait. Get it.
I don't care. I actually don't care about that.
I know you don't care. I care.
And then, how did there was like some Facebook thing.
Yes.
And Andy was like, Peter McGraw?
Katie, who's the smartest lady I know. Your other cousin, Katie, was flipping through pictures and she was like, she's flipping through my picture. She was like, I know that guy. She's like, oh my God. And then she starts, stalking you. And she was like, I knew my cousin was a professor in like Colorado somewhere. And Katie calls me and she's just like, oh my God, that's Peter. And then I don't know if the other name they call you. Can we say your other name? Is that a secret name? Is that your alias?
I don't even know what this is.
Albert?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, is this your alias?
Albert's my real first name.
Well, they're both like, oh my God, that's Albert. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look how tall he is. Look, oh my God. And it just happened like that. Facebook picked, the internet, photos, and Katie. I mean, just people know Colorado and they know Denver.
Right.
And so they don't realize Boulder's right there. And they were just like, oh, he's somewhere in the mountains of Colorado.
Yeah, he went west and we lost him.
But yeah, it's so close. And, Andy was my boss, and Andy was being supportive of my comedy. So he hired me to be the caterer and gave me whatever days off I wanted. Okay. I can come in whenever I want. Okay. Not whenever I want, but he was covering me so that I could go
Basically, he's paying you to do comedy.
No, don't say that. No, he was accommodating what he was.
That's very nice.
Other jobs might let you go, but he was accommodating because he saw that I was doing well in comedy and he wanted to help that. So in my day, I go in at 8, I make some sandwiches, I'm done by noon, and then I come home and maybe try to finish up some writing project that I've waited to the last minute to do, of course. That's how my creativity works. And then I get ready for shows at night. And, that starts around 5 with the lashes and in the mirror coaching yourself, really. I'm coaching myself.
What is that like?
While I'm getting dressed, I listen to music to get pumped up.
What do you listen to?
Mostly Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Get a little bit back. It makes me think of LA.
Yeah.
Makes me think, and I'm from LA, and I think when I do stand up, I want to be myself completely. So I kind of get back there. I'm putting on my makeup. I'm looking just like my mom in the mirror. I look just like my mom. And then I'm still late, even though I start getting dressed like 2 hours early. I rush into every show that I ever go to, rush down there and get in the green room and start trying to get a set ready, start listening to that audience. I go out in the audience and I peek around, see who's sitting down, who's ordering drinks. Are they laughing before the show?
Okay. So why are you doing that? So you're scouting, you scout the audience.
Yeah, kind of get a feel about what type of material I might do in that room. If I'm at Comedy Works South, it's a really beautiful space. People pay a little bit more for a ticket. They're dressed a little better. Maybe they've come with some coworkers.
Okay.
They're drinking martinis or something. And so I want to do some material that suits that audience.
So can you give me an example of a joke?
An example.
Like you would tell the martini Southern Denver crowd versus the beer drinking downtown Lodo crowd.
What works at the South Club, I talk about moving to Colorado. I talk about, being a black woman in Boulder and, pop into Boulder and being like, I guess one of my jokes is just like, I don't know, how I feel like.
Pretend to have a martini right now.
Well, there's such a long setup, but I mean, the Boulder joke really works because everybody knows Boulder. Some local humor. People want to hear about themselves, really. Mm-hmm. They want to hear about themselves. I talk about Andy a bit, about us moving here together. I moved to Colorado, all the way to Colorado. I brought my own white guy with me from California to Colorado. And everybody's just like, we get it. Why'd you do that? And if I had waited till I got here, could have got me a fresh one when I got here. A mountain guy, some big mountain white guy. And Andy's really nice. He's a nice guy, but he can't dunk or play harmonica or anything. He's just like regular white guy. And I talk about Boulder, and I stick out a little bit in Boulder. Sure. They always laugh because you've been. That always works. Oh, you've been to Boulder. I stick out in Boulder like a black woman in Boulder, and I notice me. Everybody notices me, and I feel like I have to be good when I'm in Boulder. Don't get in trouble. There'd be too many witnesses. Officer, she was an African. There she is, right there. And they get all that. They want to hear about themselves. What I try to stay away from there is what I notice in Denver, if people have a little bit of money, it's hard for me to talk about where I'm from.
Okay.
I think it's hilarious. I know I say I'm broke all the time. It's because I'm an artist, not because I'm black, not because of where I grew up even. It's because I'm an artist and it's the life I've chosen. It's just sort of an unstable lifestyle. Yeah. And
you grew up in Fresno.
I grew up in South Central LA.
Oh, wait. But your family's in Fresno.
My family made the lateral move to Fresno and begged me to move there too.
I see.
As an adult. And I finally relented and saw for myself that it was a lateral move. And I didn't need to do that, so then I left.
I see why the Kendrick's music is like the modern day.
I think
version of I think of 90s hip hop And I always think of that part of the world when I think 90s hip hop, and he seems to
he's young. He's really young, but he talks about the 90s a lot. And sometimes I do the math when I'm listening to his songs, and his songs are like powerful, prolific, and I'm like, you're like 7 then, Kendrick. You saw that on TV, dude. But still, it speaks to me. Yeah. It speaks to me, and he was very influenced by NWA and Dr. Dre. And I'm like, that's where I'm from. He's from Compton, which is like, I don't know, 10, 15 miles away from where I grew up. Yeah. But my neighborhood, both of our neighborhoods were part of the war on drugs. You know, we're segregated. I mean, LA segregated.
Yes.
And we're both in those neighborhoods where your parents own a home, but the home isn't appreciating or whatever. Like the
it's
rest
not
of
an
LA.
investment, in the same way.
So I get pumped, and I feel that his anger and his rage a little bit about just the years that, you know, our families kind of suffered in those neighborhoods. And that gets me pumped. But that doesn't always translate to a Denver audience that pays full price for a ticket.
Yes, I see.
Versus being in a bar or something.
Do you have a different opener when you're a fancier comedy works and versus when you're doing like an open mic or doing how do you open?
I usually open with something that I thought of 10 minutes ago. An observation. Right? Yeah, a lot of people do. You make an observation so that you, as an actor, I'm trained to be in the moment. I think that's what I have over a lot of other comedians. I'm in the moment. I'm performing. And after 10 years of performing comedy, well, almost 10 years, being in the moment is a skill that I developed.
Okay.
So I'm able to perform with my eyes open. And so when I'm going out to look and see who's in the audience, and I know that they're coworkers, maybe like for Christmas at Comedy Works, I might say like, oh, you know, awesome. You guys all it's an office party. You all came to see comedy. What better way to bond with your coworkers than to, you know, laugh at a dick joke in the dark with Carol from accounting, you know? And, so that's specific to those guys. They're all in an office party. At a bar, you know, you make some observation about the drunks who are there right in front of you. When I'm in Colorado Springs, I always feel like they drink a lot out there. I don't know what's going on in Colorado Springs, but they kind of want to talk about how blasted they're getting. And you can do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've always thought that comedians had like a kind of stable of openers that they tend to use. And so hearing that you come up with your opener based upon the environment that's a new idea to me.
I think you have to, they love to know. I think everybody kind of knows that comedians have, you know, you have your hits and they love when you say something in the moment. And usually even with an opener, it might just be a tweak to something you've said. You know, maybe I'll say the same thing in 2 different cities, but I'll, you know, just change the name of the local lake or whatever it is. I don't have any lake jokes. I don't know why I said that. But I like to say something fresh because it makes me feel good, too, as a performer.
Okay.
At the club, you tend to just do your A material. You go hard on that A material that you've rehearsed very well. And I like to feel like I'm in the moment by saying something that I've just seen, you know, just making observations and trusting that I'm a funny person who can make an observation, even if it's not the most clever joke you've heard. I'm a funny enough person that I could sell that.
Yeah. You are a funny person because you're on this podcast.
Yes, I know. This is how I know.
So we were going through the steps of your day. So you get ready, you put yourself in battle mode, you know, you get pumped up, you come camera ready, you scout the audience, you do your show, then what?
I do my show, then, you know, for like 10 minutes, I kind of beat myself up about how crappy I did.
Okay.
Gotta spend a little time doing that and judging my set.
Okay.
And judging how my laughs compared to the guy who won before me.
Okay.
And then part of the job is hanging out a little bit.
Tell me more about that.
Either, you know,
I hear this a lot.
Well, if
and when I say a lot, I mean the previous 3 guests.
Well, statistically, I don't know, 90% of us will say this, you've got to spend some time with either the audience and or the other performers. Spending time with the other performers, it gets you your next job.
Okay.
You know, I'm trying to book out 2 months in advance. People are asking me to do shows 2 months from now.
Okay.
And so that's how I'm getting those shows. by being a cool person that they want to see again.
Okay.
And sometimes with the audience, I'm building a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually only hang with the audience when I feel I've done well.
Okay.
And I feel like I can make eye contact with people at that point, because a lot of times after a show, I can't make eye contact.
You don't feel good.
It feels like a bad sexual encounter. Like, get my clothes and get out of here.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know where my earring is. Just keep it. Okay. I'm gone. But I feel embarrassed and I don't want to talk to anybody. But when I have a good set, I'm out there.
Do you sell any swag?
Any merch?
Merch. That's right.
Swag's free.
Yes, swag's free. Merch you pay for.
Swag's free.
Yeah, merch. Sorry, this shows you how inexperienced I am.
Well, only when I have some merch with my group, Pussy Bros. We have T-shirts and stickers. We give out stickers. We sell T-shirts.
Okay.
Rachel is in the group and she designed the T-shirts. It's Pussy Bros, but it's a picture of 4 cats.
Okay.
So it's just cats, guys.
I get it.
And people like those. When I go out of town, though, every now and again, those people want to buy stuff because they want to remember you.
Okay.
It almost doesn't even matter what you're selling. And I am working on some merch right now for my personal trips.
From the comedians I've talked to who do it, they recognize it's a bit of a pain in the ass. You got to have a second bag and you're carrying around all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always feel comfortable with the selling part of it. However, it's good money.
It's right?
The margins on those things
bonus
are great.
Money, and you should really be doing it, but
it's sort of mutually beneficial in that way. Like, people they remember you and they have a good feeling about it.
You have to recognize it as being mutually beneficial. Mm-hmm. Sometimes with the sales part, even with selling my act to get the next job, to ask for more money,
mm-hmm.
I have to recognize that what I'm doing is mutually beneficial to myself, to the audience. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard with merch. I've got to feel confident and be ready to make some eye contact and be ready to push some sales.
It's intimate, right?
And you spend time.
You're shaking hands and...
Sklar Brothers, you know Sklar Brothers?
I do, yeah.
They are so good. I've gotten to work with them a couple times. They are so smart, so business savvy, very focused. They're already excellent at their comedy, but they're money motivated as well. They're paying attention to every aspect of it. They're selling those shirts and those hats and those CDs. Doesn't matter if you are a huge fan that has seen them 20 times. Would you like to pay $30 for this shirt since you love us so much? Mm-hmm. And people do. It's amazing. And they spend time with every person. They shake every hand. They take every photo. They're the best at it. And when I work with them, I just stand by and I'm like, okay. But part of it is being money motivated. And unfortunately, at myself and in my arts career, it's been art focused and never money focused. And now I'm finally getting to a point where it's like, well, if you'd like to stop making sandwiches, you'd better
find a way
to you have to. And it's been slow going for me
mm-hmm.
and a lot of comedians, but it's so important. And eventually you just hit a wall where you're like, you don't even have time to make sandwiches anymore if you're going out of town. If I'm asking for days off every week. So you better get some merch. I'm working on merch. Literally, put out a message to some people, just friends, being like, who's got ideas? Who wants to design something for me?
Because we could talk about what are good margin items and that are easy to transport. Right? T-shirts are good margin, but they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's a lug around.
Because you need 4 sizes. And you got to lug them around and so on versus things like keychains and stickers but then, right? What has the right? If you could sell a T-shirt, you can have a T-shirt made for $4 and sell it for $30. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
the Sklar Brothers can. The rest of us are selling them for $20. But
okay, fair enough. Yeah, but still, that's still in my world as a business school professor, if you have that kind of, a good margin is 50%, right? So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So this has come up a couple times. So this idea of not trusting yourself or being very hard on yourself after a set, these sort of self-critiques. Tell me, where does it come from?
Which is why I need a director now. I need an outside critique.
Okay.
Because
that'll be more rational.
It'll be, rooted in something.
Okay.
Instead
versus
of my mind.
Yeah, where are your critiques coming from?
For myself?
Yeah. Like
it's just my self-criticism, doubt as an artist. It just, I don't know if that ever goes away.
But isn't that help? I feel like there's like this healthy level of self-critique, right? You know, there are people who they don't know how bad they are because they don't let themselves, like they can't imagine that they would be bad. And of course, then there are the people who are good who think that they're worse than they are. Mm-hmm. And in both of those cases, you're held back. But in the middle there, it's useful, right, to be honest with yourself, because it makes you work harder and
I don't know.
Be smarter about it. No,
the problem I'm having is it's not necessarily being honest with myself. It's some sort of mental problem, and a lot of us suffer from it. It's like just a crack in the armor, or somehow, and some doubt just gets in there somehow. You know, the one guy in the front who didn't laugh.
Yeah, this is, in the behavioral sciences, this is called the negativity bias. Mm-hmm. So I get this with my students too. You know, we could do they do these anonymous midterm evaluations, and, largely they're good. I work hard at the job, but there's always a few that are kind of shitty, and it's like, that attracts all your attention, right? And the idea is that negative things have a much bigger effect on our emotions, our attention, than positive things. And so you need like 10 good things to outweigh that one bad thing, or 30 good things to outweigh that bad thing.
You have one guy in the front with his arms folded. You need a whole nother show. You need a whole nother audience to cover that.
So as I fold my arms... How do you overcome that? That seems like a critical thing to the next level, no?
I think for comedy, it's a numbers thing. You gotta just do it again, 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 do it again. And, it took a long time to get to this point where I can get over it. So while I take 5 to 10 minutes to kick myself around a bit, I no longer take 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay.
To show up again.
That's amazing. I want to cover a bunch of other things though, because this is so good. When are you writing? What are you writing in? How are you? Tell me about your writing process.
I am still writing. I write in journals, and I like blank pages. Like right now, I have a sketchbook. Can
you pull it out and show me what you've written?
Oh my God, it looks terrible. First of all, my friends are like, "You write so big." I'm like, "Yeah, I can't see. I need glasses," and so I write really huge.
This came up in Funny or True, show. That you were performing without your glasses.
I need glasses. I have reading glasses, but they're like straight up magnifying glasses.
What does it say? It's nice to...
Oh, it's all bad, by the way. It's all bad until 5 years later if you can hang on to it.
Spike Lee.
We did a nerd roast where we played characters. So I played Spike Lee.
I'm reading this upside down. It's so nice to, what does that say?
Oh, it's so nice to see all the women up here and Jodie Foster. It was it's a roast. So I was trying to think of some roast jokes. Jodie Foster is up there. That was about Hollywood directors. Okay. I think what's being repeated in this particular journal, because I have some that are full and some that I put away for a year and come back to. I'm working a long princess joke, a Disney princess joke, so that keeps being repeated every time I try to find something new. Oh, I gotta write a couple eulogies, and I have no idea. So Rapunzel, my friend kind of I talk about wigs a lot on stage, and so I could kind of work Rapunzel in there. Her wigs, weave, broken edges, how her hair is probably dry.
She has terrible hair.
How she probably has terrible
really
hair.
Unhealthy hair.
Yeah, so she probably has just one giant dreadlock, and how could anybody climb up there? The prince, Michael Bay. There's a lot of random. I doodle a lot, which is why I like to buy drawing paper.
Yeah, this is like thicker paper than normal.
Yeah, I like how it feels. The Comedy Works pens work really nice. Kima 24 inches of Kima Sassy. I was getting real specific about the hair I was talking about, which is that's another thing that doesn't necessarily work at Comedy Works South. I can talk about
real topical.
Well, I can talk about my hair because I'm a black woman standing up there with fake hair, and they don't know anything. When I'm on stage, if I'm the only black woman on stage, I feel like you've hired me to talk about myself. So I'm going to talk about being black and what's going on, even if people don't get all the references. Okay. But right here, I started to go too deep.
Who is this? Tell me your name.
Oh, this wig?
Oh, it's the name of a wig.
This is a wig.
Oh, I thought it was the name of a person.
Well, they give them people names.
Oh, I didn't know this.
So when I talk about wigs, like I talk about my favorite wig is Sally. And she is a long ombre girl, and I like to toss her around a little bit. And lately I was wearing this other straight hair, which I was calling Michelle.
Okay.
And people got that reference. I was like, oh, this one's Michelle. You know, because my regular hair is short and nappy. I'm an artist. But Michelle went to Harvard. You know, Michelle is great in job interviews. Yes. And Michelle will be on time. And they sort of get that. Like, it's kind of one of Michelle Obama's haircuts type of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I got two specific. I never used this. I wrote this out. I was like, I'm going to say 24 inches of Kima Sassy to be. They don't need all of that. Yeah. You can say Sally.
That's in two inside.
Two inside. Yeah, but one day at the Comedy Works, my friend Lewis was headlining, and there was like 10 black women, and I could see the fake hair out there, so I got deep into it because they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh God, this is the first time this has ever happened in Denver.
So that's where your scouting pays off.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually go open your eyes, look at the audience, really see who is out there, and now you know that wig joke is fun for me, but I don't always do it. So if I see a room full of black women, I'm like, okay, they will get it. They will get it, yeah.
So what are you reading? What are you watching these days? I mean, it sounds like you're doing a lot of writing and performing, but are you consuming anything?
Constantly consuming, which I keep trying to tell younger comics that's part of the work too. You know, a lot of the younger comics, they obsess about open mics.
Right.
And so they go for 3 hours and wait for their 5-minute chance.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you should be reading and writing and watching other people as well.
So and in comedy or out of comedy, like what have you read, watched, or listened to that really has stood out that you're just like, whoa, that's...
Read, watched, or listened to. Let me think. There's a lot.
But just like something that like is the cream of the crop. I mean, there's obviously a lot of good stuff, but the thing that makes that I've read that's the cream of the crop is Bossy Pants. Okay. Yeah.
That never leaves you. You're just like, okay, you can get very focused on this, be very good, be funny. That woman was funny on a page in a room by myself reading that book. I was laughing out loud.
I actually just reread the book. Yeah,
that's a great book. I mean, I'm always picking up Born Standing Up.
I just reread that book too.
And right now,
so that's Tina. For those of people who don't know, Bossy Pants is Tina Fey's memoir, and Born Standing Up is Steve Martin's memoir.
Yeah, those are great. And I was on a flight, and I'm reading Stephen King's book on writing.
Oh yes, yeah.
And
Kill Your Darlings.
I'm always in that rereading those. I never make it through books. Last book I made it all the way through was probably like Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's one of my favorite books too. That one, that's like for the words. It's like, oh, this is really I could do a little better on stage. They don't all have to be lowbrow dick jokes.
Like, yeah, I guess that'll help you. That'll help with the Cyrano, right?
Yeah.
You know, I haven't read Bram Stoker's Dracula, but I saw there was a movie based on
which I always loved.
It's with Keanu, isn't it? No?
Okay, Keanu is in it.
He was actually...
I'm a person who loves Keanu.
Yeah.
I think that not everyone can be as... he could be a blank slate.
Yes, that's what... Talk about a meat puppet.
Yeah. Everybody can't do that.
Meat puppet.
Not everybody can do that. If I'm in a play, I'm basically me and my mom. All the time. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a little bit of this all the time. Keanu can be a blank slate. Sort of like Meryl Streep, okay?
But I think you're getting... That's unfair to Meryl.
I studied acting. I see it.
I see. I think he's too blank. That's my... Look, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing about Keanu Reeves. I think Keanu Reeves is one of the few actors would be more interesting in real life than he is on screen.
Okay. Probably, and maybe that's why he got hired all those years.
Maybe, Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's a professional. There's no. I don't want to.
I know you hate small talk.
No. So, but I actually like that Dracula film. I don't know if it holds up, but I remember.
Yeah, I don't know. The costumes were beautiful. I loved it as a kid. I love Gary Oldman.
Yes, that's right.
And then
he's a good Dracula.
in reading the book, though, the book is really just beautiful. It's beautiful. It's poetic. I mean, they talk a lot about the sea in it, and I think anybody who talks about the sea somehow is compelling, always. And the language, it's kind of it's more religious than they portrayed it in the movie.
Okay.
Really, it's a battle of, I mean, Dracula is essentially evil, Satan. That's all it is. And she is a religious, pious woman. And Mina is able to overcome Dracula because she's a religious, pious woman. But it's just beautiful to read. And so I like to pick that up. Frederick Douglass's narrative of Frederick Douglass is something that I like to pick up on occasion. And just, I mean, my sister said that I got really ratchet once I moved to Colorado. I don't know if you know what ratchet means.
I don't.
I didn't think you would, Peter. Ratchet, no. But you might want to study the word. Ratchet, it's slang for other slang words. I don't even know how to describe it a little bit. Once I got to Colorado.
Don't make me go to Urban Dictionary.
You probably should, because I'm not going to give a good description of it. It's a little more ghetto, a little more black. Okay. Essentially, my blackness is on my sleeve. You know, I wear my blackness on my sleeve in Colorado. And my sisters were like, I can't believe you are that way.
Because of the contrast here.
Yeah, essentially. I feel like I have to be, I have to represent I have to be, you know, all the black people on stage. But so I am constantly refreshing my information about my history and my culture because nobody else is talking about it. So I like to go back to Frederick Douglass. I like to listen to Kendrick Lamar. I like to go to my braid lady. I've been wearing braids for a year now. And, you know, I like to connect because I'm in Colorado and it's not my sister sitting right there. It's not my family.
I see.
All around.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly highlights that part of your identity more. Like when at home, you might be more of the artist type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I see. So last question. What do you think the secret to success is that everybody knows but can't seem to do?
Hard work. It's so annoying. It's hard work. It's hard work. Everybody will tell you. Everybody I know. I don't know if you know Adam Caden Holland. He's been really lovely and supportive of me since I've been out here. And I see it in him. It's hard work. And I see it in all of his peers. It's hard work. Yes, you have to have some talent, some drive, but you got to stick with it. Whatever it is, you've got to stick with it. You've got to have late nights. You've got to return those emails. The part that's not the 20 minutes on stage where you're getting all the laughs, you know, not the drinks after, but the morning after where you've got to drive wherever.
Yeah, you got to come to Boulder.
You got to come to Boulder, even though you had shows last night. You got to get up and get to Boulder. Yeah. And that is, it's like working out. You can't get past it. You have to eat well and exercise. So for the secret for success in our art is working hard, showing up, doing the writing, saying yes to free work constantly. You're not going to get paid for everything, but some things will, you know, pay off later for you. And you got to be nice. Ugh, that's worse than the hard work part. It's worse.
That's connected to this sort of networking, the hanging out afterwards.
Yeah, which I didn't know in my first 6 years. Because I thought, even as an actor, I thought just the work. When I was acting, I was all about that work. Just the work, though. Never the hanging out and never the being nice, which my mom tried real hard to get me to be nice my whole life.
Is that right?
It's not in me. I'm always decent and honest and kind. Nice, meaning like hang out, laugh. Yes. Don't say the you know, the sharpest, cheekiest thing you think of. You can't say it. You gotta be nice. All the time.
You know, one thing since I first met you doing that show that I've always appreciated, I've always thought of you as a professional.
Thank you.
I have this saying.
Tell everybody.
I have this saying, it's like, be an effing professional. You know, I see this with grad students and with my MBA students and, you know, in this kind of way. And that I think has that element to it, which is, you know, showing up, doing the things that you're going to do, and then, you know, acting appropriately given the context that you're in. Given the
context. And if people know you as a comedian, you've got to be funny wherever you go. I mean, you can't just be crabby. you can't. They've hired you to be a personality.
Yeah, there's that expectation. Well, you've been nice and professional, and you've been funny.
Oh, good.
Today.
Did I derail the subject?
No.
Your paper is cover.
I just make a lot of notes about stuff that I'll put links to it. I'm going to put a link to a Kendrick Lamar video for people who haven't.
I'll tell you
favorite. Which one do you?
You have a favorite?
Yeah.
I just got loud and sat up in my seat. Tell me.
Well, actually, my favorite Kendrick song doesn't even have a video. It's Mad City, which I think that's like one of the best songs I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. It's just so different. Mm-hmm. And it's good and different. Like, it's easy to be bad and different.
Yeah.
But I'll probably do Humble or DNA.
Yeah, I'm listening to Damn a lot right now. I have it. To Pimp a Butterfly is my favorite album.
Okay. Yeah.
My favorite is We Gonna Be Alright.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
That one I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I'll put links to Bossy Pants and Born Standing Up and Narrative of Frederick Douglass and so on. And then just some other, I just have notes.
You're always very professional. It makes me laugh, though. I'm like, turn it off, Peter.
Well, you see me in these settings. Janae, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me. I hope that the podcast gets more and more wonderful.
It's already on the upswing, and I'm going to definitely come see you in Cyrenac.
Oh, my God. Okay. Okay, yes, come to that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit petermcgraw.org for more information about our guests, show notes, and social media links. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share with others. Join Dr. Peter McGraw next week for another fun, fascinating conversation on I'm Not Joking. Yo.